Hi, I'm Joni Patrie, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the full moon that's going to be happening January 6th. And this full moon is going to be in sidereal Gemini. This is very important because Gemini is all about travel and communications. This is going to be the issue this month. So before I move on, let me remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter on my website. You will get my predictions delivered weekly to your email address. Go to galacticcenter.org, and while you're at my website, don't forget to check out my monthly magazine, Joni Patrie's Astrology Insights. Sign up to subscribe for that. It is a wealth of astrological information. And I have a new class about to begin. University of Vedic Astrology's new start date is January 25th. Don't miss it. You will be part of a huge worldwide community that is amazing and learns and teaches astrology. So with that, my university website is universityofvedicastrology.com. So continuing on about this wonderful full moon that we have in Gemini, it is, in Vedic astrology, we have the 27 nakshatras, and this one falls in the nakshatra called Purnavasu. Purnavasu means return of the light, and it means that things about the world, the truth, everything is starting to come about. The light is starting to shine. But I gotta say, for the first few weeks of January, till Mercury goes direct, we're going to have all sorts of havoc and problems with communications and particularly around travels, because Mercury is retrograde, and that's the ruling planet of Gemini. So this is going to be hectic. And I got to say this, the sun, when we have a full moon, it means the sun and the moon are in opposition. So the sun sits here with Mercury very tightly, within a degree, in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the truth seeker. So the sun sits in the nakshatra Purva Ashada, which means seekers of the truth. So that's why I keep saying there's something about the past. When you have retrograde planets, by the way, they always drum up and dig up a lot from the past. Because what is a retrograde? When you go back and revisit things, review, reassess, reflect, test everything. So during this time, for the first few weeks, we have Mercury retrograde, and Mars is still retrograde till January 12th. And this is vitally important because these two planets, Mercury and Mars, are in a dysfunctional relationship to each other most of the whole month. And it means a lot of things that are not working are going to come out during this retrograde time. But it's a time that we all need to go back and reassess our lives, even to see what's not working so we can change, make this new year a better year. I find it very interesting. This new year starts out with Mercury retrograde. People change their minds when Mercury's retrograde, especially when Mercury changes directions. And it turned retrograde on the 30th of December, and it will turn direct on the 17th, around the 17th of January. So you're going to find that people are changing and flip-flopping around with a lot of the things that they agreed upon. Because remember, Mercury is how we communicate and agree, and people are not being stable with their beliefs, what they believe, or what they're saying. So this is a month of confusion. I'm going to say that. A lot of confusion where people don't know what they want. They don't know what to say. They're confused, and they will flip-flop more than once in the month. So January, as we always look at it, as a month of new beginnings, but I know that things are not going to just be one way and move throughout the rest of the year. It's going to be radical shifts and changes. I think January is a month of a lot of change, because around the 17th, Saturn's going to change signs. But right now, during the time of this full moon, we have Saturn still in Capricorn. So it's finishing up its last jaunt through the sign of Capricorn, not to return for about another 30 years. So while it's in the tail end of this sign, it will finish up a lot of things that were left undone, which deals with government affairs, which deals with world leaders, deals with war and all the things that were happening in 2022. A lot of things are coming to be completed that were kind of on the edge about the whole year. There's going to be endings, there's going to be completion, and it deals with government and government leaders. Watch and see how everything starts to explode and change in the area of government and leaders around the world, but especially we know in the United States. It's coming up for a lot of radical changes coming about with leadership. So also looking at where Uranus and Rahu have been, they are trailing together within a few degrees. And this is major change and breakthrough. Finally, this year, I think a lot of the things that were left hanging are going to finally explode and have a breakthrough, especially halfway through the year when we have Jupiter in Aries. We're going to see some monumental changes happening that will be quite a surprise. But one thing I can assure you is we're going to have so many discoveries in terms of technology, space, and healing. Lots of coming about with discoveries in the realm of health and healing and even longevity for people. This is going to be a core issue for the next couple of years, but especially the second part of 2023 and the beginning part of 2024. But this Mars has been a major problem, digging up all sorts of dirt on everyone and everything. The truth is coming out when we got retrograde planets going back and revealing some things we didn't know in the past. And Mars being in the sign of Taurus is not very congruent for Mars either. Mars has some issues here. A lot of blame, a lot of sarcasm, a lot of emotional problems for everyone. And anger. Most of all, don't forget Mars is anger. And when it goes retrograde, it brings up the issues in our life that we've been angry about for a long time. So this is a clearing out and an ending of this, because by January 12th, Mars will turn direct. Now, it's not going to leave the sign of Taurus till about March 12th, but trust me, going direct will make a huge, major difference in how we feel about what we've been angry about all this time and what Mars has uncovered in all of our lives, as well as with world leaders and countries. It's all being washed out, which is a healing for everyone and everything. So Saturn is going to complete its jaunt through Capricorn as well. And I find that Jupiter is going to start picking up a lot of speed, because it just turned direct, about 6 weeks ago, and now it's going to start speeding up with the way that it's starting to process through the end of Pisces, which is going to be where things start to move forward that felt like a stalemate, that things never came out, or the truth of issues, because Jupiter does deal with the truth. It is in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. That nakshatra deals so much with the past, but it particularly can deal with endings and deaths. So you're going to find that a lot of people, famous people, there's endings and there's death. So that's what Jupiter between now and April will bring. A lot of endings, and people that are not healthy, they're going to have some issues and problems. So it's very important that we work, all of us, on our health this year. Now, talking about Mercury being in Sagittarius with the Sun, and they're both aspecting the moon. Whenever I see Mercury moon aspects, it means the mind is on overdrive. People will not stop talking about the same thing over and over and over again. And such a restless spirit is going on in the world. But take that back for yourself, that this is the time for you to learn, to explore new things. Because while the moon sits in Mercury's sign, it's time to go back and revisit some of the things that you possibly wanted to learn about, but you didn't have the time or something prevented you. Now's the time for you to go back, relearn, re-listen, and redo things. Because with it being in the sign of Gemini, Gemini is all about learning, writing. If you've been wanting to write that book or journal, now's the time. Because it's very important when Mercury's retrograde to go back and reassess things, to revisit, to understand why the things in your life have been held back and have not been working. So this full moon gives where everything comes to fruition. Remember, the full moon is like where it comes to the culmination point of the last new moon. And this was taking place in the sign of Sagittarius, and now the moon in Gemini. So the truth is, there's been light shed on many things from your past that you can learn from. But most of all, it is time to go back and revisit and learn something that you started to learn before. It's a time to complete some tasks that you've been wanting to complete that deal with learning, education, and even traveling. Make some travel plans for the future, but I don't suggest traveling as much when Mercury is retrograde. Now, you'll get to your location and it's a good time to reflect on your life when Mercury's retrograde, but let me remind you that there will be some issues, delays, setbacks, probably severe weather. You know, January, there can be weather. But delays, even in computers, technology, that can cause some major delays. Mechanicals with traveling. And heaven knows this Mercury retrograde has been a nightmare for travelers. So be prepared and possibly wait till Mercury goes direct. That would be a better time, which is after the 17th. But if you can't avoid it, just be prepared for delays. So with that, I think this is going to be a very interesting time in January. This full moon is bringing things to light that we didn't know about and process and learn and grow from. This is an important time. And remember, the moon being in Purnavasu means a return of the light, making comebacks with things, returning to the things that have been undone, unfinished, and you will feel a sense of completion by doing so. So with that, I'd like to close. Remember, if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, my start date for the university is January 25th. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com, and don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. Check out my spiritual jewelry while you're at Galactic Center, and there's links down below for everything. So with that, Happy New Year, Happy January, and take it easy on yourself with this moon and its dispositor, this full moon being Mercury, and the retrograde, what it's all about. Thank you.